came from a fairly large family of about 7 kids in a fairly lower to middle class background. A lot of my family were tradesmen and surfies and things like that. I went on to university. First guy in the family went on to university, and then I went into sort of corporate jobs, and a series of them, which each one of them I really hated. And at some point I decided that, wow, I better do something with my life because this is not where I'm going to ever be happy. I just decided that I've got to take control of my life and do something bigger and better than what this life was taking me. Well, after I eventually left my jobs, a friend and I from university decided to live this fairly wacky dream to go to Silicon Valley and start up a venture capital firm. Now, I knew very little about venture capital and I didn't know anyone in Silicon Valley, but we were determined to do something over there. So we made a few really good investments. One of them was PayPal. And after that I went home to Sydney and I thought, well, what am I going to do now? I didn't actually have any money because the money hadn't come through and not for a few years. And I didn't want to go back to a job. I still wanted to have that freedom from working. I looked around and I found, just by chance, a cook from New Zealand. He hadn't gone to university. In fact, he left school in year 10. And he was nothing like anyone I'd met in Silicon Valley. You know, we're talking Stanford graduates and all that. This was the guy who dropped out of school. And he was making quite a lot of money on the internet from his bedroom. And that really opened my eyes to what's possible and who's actually making the money. I had a great deal of respect for what he did, and we started to get talking, and he shared some of his secrets about how he was doing this. And I thought, well, I could probably do that too. And before you know it, I was starting to make a good amount of money from my beanbag in a bedroom in Melbourne. And from there I grew it. I think the first month that I saw revenue, I was probably making, I think my first check was for 26,000 US dollars, which was about, at that point, about 50,000 Australian dollars. That was, it was hard to believe until I actually saw the check arrive in the mail, but yeah, it's pretty good. You know, I've made enough money so that I don't have to work for a living. I bought a property very close to here and I spent a lot of time there just thinking about new schemes and projects, and I really like to help people. It gives me a lot of satisfaction. People who want to take control of their lives and realise a path beyond the corporate institutionalised world. I'm very, very passionate about that. And occasionally I just go on crazy little adventures with the time that I have. Last year I went to Europe and I followed the story of young Albert Einstein before he became successful, and what he did and who he met and the guys he used to have fun with. It's just something that grabs me, that I'm passionate about. I follow my passions when I'm not lying around the house enjoying my freedom. Well, apart from the money, and the money really is just a means to an end. And the end to me is freedom, okay? Freedom to be who I want. So for example, a couple of years ago, I helped build Fishburn as a co-working space with a bunch of really young guys. And for a period of time, I was one of them. I was like a hip 25-year-old dude guy. So I could choose to be that, and then I can be the serious investor guy the next year. I can think however I want. I don't have a boss to tell me how to think, or I don't have expectations around me of how I need to think. The freedom of thought, freedom of doing what I want, and freedom of being what I want, I think that's the greatest gift. That's the greatest success that I'm grateful for.